Welcome back to your Empathy Dojo. This is week 3, and this is the last week of this first course on empathy essentials. So we have spent the last 2 weeks, our little bites, our little modules have all been about self-care and about learning some of the essentials of rapport. I've been presenting this in the Rev C protocol and just offering a couple little slogans. And the idea of the Empathy Dojo, the reason why we have these little chunks is ideally this cognitively biases you, and then you can walk around all day and kind of with that frame on. This is something I've found in my own practice to be very effective in integrating the new skills. We're using the brain the way it's made. So we're often walking around with biases and filters on. If we bias ourselves toward, am I starting with empathy first? Oh, what am I doing instead of rapport, etc.? Then we start to see the world through this particular sort of filter. And this actually helps us to amplify our efforts in studying more compassionate and empathetic ways of connecting to one another. So, let me get a little closer to this microphone, or the microphone a little closer to me. So with that, yeah, we're on the right microphone. With that, today, I want to present to you this week, we go into some interpersonal skills and exercises. So all of what we've done so far has been building the foundation, and we will get deeper into those foundations as we go. But this week, we're gonna lightly dip our toes into interpersonal work. And one thing I really like about this is when we lightly dip our toes in there, we learn best when we play. So it's really hard. I don't know if any of you have noticed, drop a comment if you have. It's really hard once you have an interpersonal crisis to start learning nonviolent communication or any communication tips, right? That we're not built to do our best learning when we're in crisis. We're actually built as human beings to learn through play. So in this Empathy Essentials course, I'm saving some of the more like, okay, intervening in our crises for next month. We do get right into it in month 2 in our course on boundaries, as well as in the live meetings. So in this course, I really want to play with where we can get the most mileage for our brains, which is in play and in positive experiences. So today, without further ado, I want to present to you what I call the praise protocol. And this is a technique that Maria and I, my partner, developed for integrating the principles of nonviolent communication. So we've been using classical nonviolent communication with this, and I'll show you how. Integrating those through playful interactions with one another when we are not in a difficult space. So this is going to be the praise protocol. The last thing I said, no further ado, but this is one last intro is this is going to be great, and you'll hear me mention a lot of something called the Gottman ratio, Gottman. And this comes from the research of John Gottman. They found in the Gottman Institute, we don't have time to go into that right now, but they found that for a relationship to thrive, you need a ratio of 5 enjoyable, pleasant, positive, nurturing interactions for every 1 challenging, difficult, negative, non-nurturing interactions. Yikes. The good news part, yikes, because of how a lot of relationships are happening. The good news part of that, for me, when I learned this, I came home and I learned this from a yoga teacher of mine on retreat. I came home immediately after that retreat and I started just trying to put in extra little nice things, like stupid nice things that you wouldn't, Maria didn't need me to do, but I'd be like, okay, well, today I'm making you a tea, and then I'm going to ask if you want to hold hands and go for a walk. Just stuff that I could do, but you don't really think of. I had this agenda. I'm going to fill the space with positive interactions. And that way, when a challenging interaction comes up, we'll still have that ratio. And of course, if no challenging interactions come up, I mean, you're living in a different realm than me, but you can get it. You can get a good stretch in a close relationship. Well, then you've just made life wonderful. So this praise protocol, what I want to present to you is if you try this on a regular basis, it's it's adding to the positivity in your interactions. We often, in our closest relationships, we forget to like just text someone and go like, hey, I'm happy you're in my life. We forget to just give people, this is one of the reasons why marriages kind of fizzle out. We forget to give each other compliments and flirt and just randomly do nice things. So I want to present to you the praise protocol is not only, this is a twofer, it's not only a way you can learn and integrate these principles, but it's also a way to start to take advantage of that Gottman ratio, fill the space up. This is just another drop in the positivity bucket. And then all of a sudden, the quality of your relationship goes up and up and up and up. Okay, so how does it go? The praise protocol. Well, we're going to use, what did we have in the Rev C? Rapport, emotions, values, and choice. Well, we're going to use the nonviolent communication words for these. And that protocol is observations, feelings, needs, and requests. And I like to joke when I teach this that says oftener, because you should speak that way more oftener than not. But we're just going to use the first three, O, F, and N, observations, feelings, and needs, because you should do the praise protocol often. So how does it go? Well, I tried this on Maria before this class just to remember if I knew how to do it. She was wearing sparkly blue things on her eyes. She's preparing to teach a class online in a couple of minutes. And I said, when I see you wearing those sparkly blue things, observation, I feel happy and lighthearted, right? Self-referential emotions, not I feel like you. No, I practice it. Self-referential. How do I feel? Well, it's a version of glad. All right, I feel happy, lighthearted, because I need, and then I put in what I'm needing or valuing. It met my need for playfulness, beauty, because she was bringing a lot of beauty into my world at that moment. And I thought she should know about it. So it was meeting my need for playfulness, beauty, spontaneity, creativity. All of that was what I was getting from the fact that she had little blue things on her eyes. So, and then as often happens, so I just diagrammed that for you. It doesn't have the same thrust as it does when you're really authentically doing this with a person in the moment. But what often happens is, even though she knew I was doing a technique, her heart gushed a little bit because I was giving her all of this, my authentic feelings and needs. And the trick is, we want to know what's alive in each other. This is actually a basic part of our human nature. We want to know what's alive in each other. This is part of our belongingness, that underlying invisible connection that joins us together. So when I share with her, oh, when I saw this, I felt, and watch out, don't say make me feel, made me feel. No, I felt, we'll get into that later. It's just a little problematic. But when I saw those blue sparkly things, so there's the observation. We could both agree there's blue sparkly things on her eyes. There's no evaluation in there yet. Then, well, how did I actually feel? I felt lighthearted. I felt joyful. I felt loving. These are all emotions, right? I didn't put any evaluations in there either. I gave her some real emotions. And then, well, we actually love participating in the expression of innate values or the meeting of one another's needs. When we can open our hearts, when our heart hasn't been traumatized, closed or something, or circumstances are, too hard, we love participating in meeting one another's needs. So I let her know, like, oh, you're meeting my needs for beauty and creativity and playfulness right now. Wow. This type of praise, or you could call this the compliment protocol if you wanted to, it nourishes something deep in our soul, which is that spot where, it's the place where we need empathy as a human nutrient. We need belonging as a human nutrient. We need compassionate connection. By contrast, you can think of like when you give somebody a compliment, you're like, yeah, you look nice. I mean, that does feel good. That does feel good most of the time. But when you say, when I see those pants hug your ass, I mean, hopefully this is somebody you're allowed. This is consensual, right? When I see those pants hug your ass, I feel enlivened because I need beauty and sexiness in my life. And you just like, consider you look nice versus you just met my needs for sexiness, so we're doing in this praise protocol, the reason it works so well is we're actually telling the person specifically what they did that we can both agree on as an observation. And then we're letting them into our heart by sharing the actual emotions that are in us and the values that they participated in the expression of, or you could say the needs that they met for us, right? So it's actually, to have needs like this, it's an expression of vulnerability, which is just great for relationship, but doing it in praise and compliments is an easy way to start to cultivate that vulnerability without, having to wonder if we're going to do an intimacy rubber band or something like that. More on that later too. So praise protocol, you make an observation, or this is in our class back there on rapport, okay, what's an observation without an evaluation? When you picked up the kids for us, when you did all the paperwork for this thing, when you got those groceries, whatever it is, this is something we both saw it happen. It's a thing. And this is what I'm about to shower love on you about. Then the feeling, it's not, I feel like you're such a nice person. Remember, we're not doing projections. We're actually going to share our feelings. Not most people are okay with a kind projection. I feel like you're just a great person, but you'll find as we go along that those don't go as deep and they don't create the same kind of connection as when we actually share what's alive in us. It's like we're reaching out from our own heart. We're making this bid from our heart. Like, here's what's alive in me, and I'd like to share it with you. So we share. When you picked up the kids, I felt relieved. Ah, what a relief. Because my needs for, well, what needs might be rest, probably, efficiency, maybe effectiveness, autonomy. You've got time to yourself, whatever it is. And I'll post up some lists of universal human needs you can play with. I don't want you to get too listy. I just want you to play. But as long as you're sharing from the heart, well, these are my real needs. I needed that. These are these universal human needs. Then this compliment, this praise is going to go in really deep and actually nourish the part of the person you're talking to that craves belongingness, that craves peace, that craves compassionate connection. So this is your praise protocol. We'll get into different elements as we go through this week, but I want you to get out there and start it. Like, see if you can do three and an extra, 4 praise protocols today. Just find, text your mom. She probably needs it if you, are in touch with your mom, or, get your buddy. You can put a comment down here. Reverend Fajun, when you don't have to call me Reverend, hey, dude, when you taught that class today, within 15 minutes, because you set your timer, I felt relieved because I needed efficiency and accountability, and you met those needs for me. Great, you just did one. There's one, and then find a few more to do. I bet you will feel radiantly open-hearted, and the people that you contact will feel radiantly open-hearted as well. So there it is, the praise protocol. Get out there and try it. If you have questions, put them in the comments. I'll answer them, and then know that we'll get a little more detail on this as we go throughout this week. This week, it's all about interpersonal. We've stoked up our intrapersonal, and now we are ready to take it to the streets. So see you tomorrow and enjoy.